and she had to go back to work. And so we had to change roles. She was the breadwinner, and I was the person at home. And my family had to come up to Ottawa. They were living in Toronto to help us out, and her parents had to do, like, they were my caregivers. So there was, yeah, without that family support would be.
And this was all happening when you were how old?
39.
Okay, 39. So I think, again, what people forget is that stroke can affect people of every age. And you were sharing with me that when you were in the hospital, what was the age category of people around you?
Yeah, they were around 60, 70.
Yeah.
There was only one guy who was my age.
Okay. And yes, you mentioned that there was somebody your age, and you've also mentioned that you have seen children who have experienced stroke as well.
Yes, there was teenagers.
Yeah.
And I felt really bad.
Yeah.
Because I had a really tough go with it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't even imagine myself being 15 having that burden of trying to get through, to recover through this.
You were very, very lucky, and your family was there to support you. Some of your journey, and which is very common for people, would be depression.
Yes.
So let's talk about mood. Help me understand how depression kind of moved in and out of your journey.
Yes, I was depressed. There's no doubt about it. Basically, the life that I had to say goodbye.
Yes.
I had to start a new life.
Yes.
And I wasn't ready for that. And I got very sad.
Yeah. And what do you think was the pivotal thing that helped lift that for you?
The support.
Yeah.
Yeah. People said, you'll be. That was the old Ian. You'll be new Ian, and you're going to have a wonderful life.
Exactly.
That way.
Exactly.
Yeah, so.
And you've got 3 beautiful girls, and
Yes,
you're your typical dad, running them all over the place.
Yes.
And you're back to practice now.
Yes.
And so thank you for sharing what you've shared. You're going to be back as well with us in the demo section. You're going to talk a little bit more about rehab and some of the common challenges that you face on a day-to-day basis being a chiropractic doctor.
Thanks.
So thank you, Dr. Anderson. It's important for us to see that stroke is not something that people in their youth may not get. Take time to see your healthcare team, and don't take high blood pressure, cholesterol, weight, or blood sugar irregularities lightly, as these are all signs that the process is beginning, and if change is not made, that you may be at risk. We'll be back shortly with more on stroke health. Welcome back to Revive Life and our show on stroke prevention and wellness. Heard that red wine is good for your heart? Well, you may have heard that alcohol, particularly red wine, is good for your heart, but drinking too much of any kind of alcohol can increase your blood pressure and contribute to the development of heart disease and stroke. Although the Heart and Stroke Association limits are much higher, for example, for women 10 drinks a week and men 15 drinks a week, I recommend setting a goal that's a little bit lower, having less than 3 drinks a week for overall wellness, including liver health. What exactly does a drink mean? Well, 341 mLs or 12 ounces of regular strength beer, which is 5% alcohol, or 142 mLs, 5 ounces of wine, that's 12% alcohol. It's not those big monster glasses of wine. And 43 mLs, which is 1.5 ounces of spirits, which is 40% alcohol. Join me in welcoming our next guest, holistic nutritionist Miriam Farber, who strives to work in an industry where she can positively impact the overall health and wellness of those involved. Welcome.
Thank you.
And we were just chatting, and I was asking you about your practice, and then you were telling me that you just graduated.
Yeah,
yay! So that must be a big relief. Yeah.
Nice
and do you have some thoughts and ideas on really what you'd like to be doing in terms of practice?
Right now I'm at Cardish, and just looking forward to whatever opportunities arise.
That's wonderful. Yeah. When somebody, because I know a lot of our viewers, they become very interested in nutrition and they think, you know, maybe that's a career for me. How did you know that holistic nutrition was something that you wanted to go into?
Well, I'd gone down various paths and had done previous education in workplace wellness and health promotion. And worked with a nutritional company that did home meal deliveries, and that sort of sparked and re-energized my interest in holistic nutrition. And I found this program, and it just seemed like it fit everything together, the lifestyle, the dietary, and the supplemental elements.
And we're very lucky here in Ottawa. There is a school.
Yes.
How long does the program take?
The program runs either a year or 2 years, and it is very flexible with daytime or evening options, as well as correspondence, so you can kind of make it your own.
That's good. So if anybody's looking for a new career, that might be a good option for you. All right, today's superfood is cranberries. Why do we love cranberries so much?
Cranberries, there's a lot of new research about cranberries for heart health, and they're just so high in antioxidants. And as we know, antioxidants just help with combating all the free radicals in our body and making sure that everything is working properly.
Exactly. And I think, you know, we hear the words free radicals and we hear all of that information, but just to note that essentially what happens is if we are exposed to things in our environment, chemicals, things like that, when we actually have exposure, our body has to process things and get rid of things through the liver. And the liver has 2 phases of detoxification. And the first phase is based on B vitamins, and the second is based on amino acids. And if for some reason we're not taking all these wonderful foods in, then what tends to happen is we get congestion and we might get free radical formation. And we don't want free radicals in the body because they really tend to be looking for something to bind to, and they can create a lot of havoc and ultimately increase inflammation. So with cranberries, let's talk about the recipes that we have here. You've got all these beautiful colors, and I know that as a holistic nutritionist, you're commonly going to talk to people about having all their colors of the day.
Yeah.
How many different colors do people need to have every day?
As many as possible, ideally 5 to 6, maybe more, and just covering the spectrum, because the more colors you have, the more vitamins, the more nutrients are available to you.
Exactly. And I think nature is really neat because, you know, red makes us think about the heart right away, and all the foods that are red in color are very good for the heart. And so I think that's neat. What are we going to make? We've got oh, we're going to start here.
Yeah, we'll start here.
I might be ahead of myself.
Start here, move that way.
Yeah, we're heading into the summertime, and people are always looking for ways to stay cool, be refreshed.
Yeah.
So what have you brought to show us today?
So I wanted to show the cranberry in 3 different forms. So the whole cranberries, the dried cranberries, and then cranberry juice.
Oh, I like that.
So we're going to begin with a mocktail. So
okay.
We were talking about alcohol right before.
Yes.
Nice segue into the segment. And so what I've done here is just put in some frozen cranberries just to keep the drink nice and cool, but without diluting it as ice would. And so we have here an ounce of cranberry juice, unsweetened cranberry juice that we'll add here, and then an ounce of pomegranate juice.
Oh, yes.
So we'll add that to our mixture, and just a splash of lime juice. All right. And then just we'll fill the glass up with club soda or sparkling water. And if you did want to add any alcohol to this, I would suggest vodka or gin would probably be a nice complement, but this is just nice, refreshing, and
it's beautiful, and it only takes seconds to make, which is really what we all need, right?
Yeah,
things that are very easy.
And easy.
Okay, I don't know about you, but I always keep cranberries in my freezer, and whenever I'm making muffins or loaves, you can really cut back on the amount of sweetener that you use by just tossing them in. Yeah. Okay, beautiful.
So that's the first recipe.
That's our first way to spin cranberries. What's another option?
And then the second option is this lovely quinoa salad. So what I've prepared here in this bowl is some quinoa. So anytime that you're cooking quinoa, you want to make sure to either soak it overnight and then drain it to get rid of any impurities and you know, take out that bitter taste that may occur, or you can just rinse it with a fine mesh.
So that's the secret to get rid of the bitterness. Yeah, okay. This looks beautiful. Looks nice and fluffy. Now, I had a friend, she emailed me this beautiful photograph, and her quinoa was really mushy. So what did she do wrong?
Probably overcooked it or added too much water. So I think if you don't add enough water, it will get really dry. I think she probably just added too much water, and it just didn't allow it to absorb it and get fluffy.
How long should you cook the quinoa for?
So I suggest cooking it for bringing up to a boil, and then cook it for about 15 minutes on a low heat, and then taking it off the heat, leaving it covered for about 5 minutes, and then you can fluff it up nicely with a fork.
Fantastic. I always like to prepare my quinoa actually the night before, and then it's cooled and it's ready to go. Actually, just put it in my rice cooker, put the water in, press the button, and it's done. It's the easiest thing. Okay, so we have a base of quinoa. Then what do we add?
So this we will allow to cool down, as you said. So ideally, you'd make the quinoa either before or let it cool.
Okay.
And then we have some lovely red peppers here that we've finely diced. And we'll just add
the great thing about red peppers is they actually have quite a bit of vitamin C, actually more than oranges, and some people don't really realize that.
And then the second ingredient is some lovely orange peppers.
Okay.
So if you don't have orange peppers, you could always substitute with yellow. As you said, with the vitamin C and the vitamin A, good for your eyes as well.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So then we've got the orange color, which we start thinking about carrots and these orange peppers, and they're really rich in beta carotene, which is, as you mentioned, good for the eyes.
And then the next ingredient we have is some slivered almonds. I like to use slivered almonds in a salad just because they hold up to the dressing. If you use sliced almonds, I find they may get mushy. And
that's true. That's a good point.
Just to help keep everything nice and crisp. So we'll add those in. And then we have some green onions here that we've diced up.
And I've been doing a lot of work with the Cancer Center, and green onions fit into what we call the allium family. And allium vegetables have actually been shown to have the ability in test tubes to halt certain cancer cells. So we know that over time, if you're increasing these plant-based foods in your diet, that you have more ability to reduce the risk of all those diseases, including stroke.
And lastly, I have here dried cranberries. And the difference between these dried cranberries and others that you may find in a regular grocery store is these are organic dried cranberries that are sweetened with apple juice.
Oh, we like that.
So oftentimes dried cranberries are really sugary, and there's all that additional sugar that's just unnecessary. So these, you still get the lovely tartness of the cranberry and the sweetness from the apple juice without that additional sugar.
That's
and
wonderful.
With the organic, you wouldn't also get the sulfites, and a lot of people have sulfite allergies.
Exactly.
And
I think the interesting thing to note is that the dried fruits that are not treated with that are treated with sulfites, they tend to have a really bright, brilliant color, and of course they look pretty. Everybody likes the way they look, but they are exposed to sulfites, and that's really because we have to preserve it in order to get it here, or the transit time.
So as you can see, we have all kinds of lovely colors in this salad. And then I've pre-mixed some dressing for us. We'll just shake it up. So within this dressing, we have 1/4 cup extra virgin olive oil, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice,
Great.
A tablespoon of honey.
Good for the liver if you're having
Exactly.
Back to the lemon.
And salt and pepper to taste. And then the key ingredients, that sort of give it that little bit of something different is quarter teaspoon of cumin and quarter teaspoon of cinnamon.
Oh,
so
that's an interesting combination. Yeah.
Nice flavor combination. So I'll just.
And I like the way that you've used lots of herbs to infuse the flavor, because in the summertime, a lot of times what can happen is people can get bloated and can swell. And so we really want to watch our sodium content during the summertime in particular.
Yeah, there's, you know, you can add as much salt as you want, but it's really just salt and pepper to taste. It doesn't need much else.
It's beautiful. And you could serve that on some lettuce.
Yeah, this would be beautiful on a bed of greens, maybe some arugula. And this is a great, if you're going to someone's place or you're having people over, just something nice to bring that's light and very versatile with any.
Quick. It's also gluten-free, so you've got that covered for people who have difficulties with the celiac and the gluten. So beautiful. So that's recipe number 2.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's very nutritious for us. And then what would be recipe number 3?
Number 3, we'll just grab from the back here.
Okay.
And what I've made is popsicles. I love making popsicles in the summer. They're so easy to do, and there's so many wonderful berries in season and fruit to just take advantage of. So what I've done here is shown just how easy it is to make frozen yogurt popsicles.
Fantastic.
So,
and I think too that for people's budgets, you know, I go into the grocery store now, and a lot of the frozen treats are really expensive.
It's shocking how expensive
they
are.
For 6, they're very, very expensive.
Yeah.
So, you know, you could make this for how much at home? Just pennies?
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you make these?
So what I did, I showed 2 forms. So, oops, pick one up here.
Okay.
We'll show, this one is the non-blended form.
Oh, that looks
And
nice.
what I've done is mixed yogurt with our beautiful frozen cranberries from here and some